What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. Another episode of our show here this week, and we have a fantastic guest with us. You guys know I love bringing all of my TikTok friends over to the page, and today we have the one and only. Look, I want you guys to see. I brought my Lego sippy cup in honor of this man.
I love that.
Yes,
where did you get
man.
that?
So I brought this. I told you it's about you today. We got Mr. Matt Mellish. Why don't you introduce yourself? And we'll be having Star Wars guy join us here soon because it's all Lego, Star Wars, everything today. We're obviously interviewing Matt Mellish. He's a fantastic creator on the TikTok platform and on YouTube as well. And we're going to be interviewing him and then talking about Star Wars, the Lego Skywalker saga. So Matt, please tell us a little bit about yourself, my friend.
Oh, wow. Well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much. I truly do appreciate it. I got to check out your content as well and got to, meet you a little bit.
Yeah.
See who you are. And I love your stuff. I love your Mando cosplay. It looks great.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Especially, it's very kind of you to go greet the mailman as well. That was a fun video that I saw you did. But
yeah, man,
my
name is... wanted that. He really wanted that. So I had to.
Exactly. Hey, anything for a real Star Wars fan, right? Anything for, the guy down the street who just wants to see your costume. Because honestly, at the end of the day, Star Wars fans need to be united in that sense. And even if you just meet someone who's wearing a Star Wars shirt and to connect over that, it means so much. And it's what I'm trying to do with my TikTok page too. It's like, I remember when I was a kid, when I was a bit younger, and still today, I'm the nerd. Yeah. But people judge you for that. People always will judge you for what they have preconceptualized in their head. Yep. And the point is to show them that it can be cool. Lego can be cool. Star Wars being a nerd can be cool. And that's the whole point of building that community. And I see what you're doing on the TikTok, and you are doing that, which is amazing to see other creators jumping into. But yes, man. I do collect a lot of Lego. Yeah. I've been collecting since I was around 8 years old, I would have to say. 2005, I got my first Lego set, which was the ATRT from Revenge of the Sith. Wow. Got it at a birthday party. And beforehand, I had actually not liked Star Wars at all. And I had not liked Lego. Yes, because before I became a nerd, I was just the kid that honestly got bullied a lot in middle school. And the cool kids were the ones who played Star Wars at recess. Wow. And I had never seen Star Wars. I know, right? The turntables have turned. Yeah, seriously. I was assigned the role of R2-D2 at recess. And this was pre-Revenge of the Sith, when we knew R2-D2 had some chops when he was lighting some super battle droids on fire with his oil slick. So I was R2-D2 at recess, and I still had no idea what R2-D2 even did, what power he had. And they're like, oh, okay, you just rolled around, and then if we push you over, you're just going to fall to the ground and stay there.
But in hindsight, looking back, now you can say, well, at least if I was R2-D2, I was the one who survived Order 66. So...
He's the god of Star Wars, man. The story wouldn't exist if it wasn't for R2-D2. I mean, think about it. Episode 1 with the repairing the ship, the first time we see him in The Phantom Menace. Yeah. Those characters would have been gone if he wouldn't have saved the day. Yeah. No Darth Vader, no Luke Skywalker, nothing. Just R2-D2 saving the day. Man. Yeah, I've been collecting Lego for quite a while, and it all started when I got a gift at a birthday party. Yeah. And I started enjoying Lego and Star Wars then. But the problem was, that's when everybody else stopped enjoying Lego and Star Wars. I never grew out of it. They did. Yeah. And at that point, I was all in. The next set I got was the clone turbo tank from 2005 from Revenge of the Sith. It just kept going and going, getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, I would save up my own money as well, which is the best way to collect as a kid, I think. To earn your own money and to be able to buy the things that you want, because there's a sense of fulfillment from that money that you just can't describe. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's so cool, man. Now, I know you've been collecting for a while. What's the And I guess I can't really say end goal, but I've seen some collectors to where, their house essentially, becomes, and it's beautiful and it's gorgeous.
where it's like literally a museum. You know, I've seen collectors to where they have that type of scale and level. Now for you, I would imagine like this is just the beginning of the journey. So for you, what's your goal going forward? Like, what are some of the big things that you would want to like tell fans, like, hey, this is something that I want to work on, something I'm passionate about, and like where you want it to grow going forward?
Sure. Well, I mean, I've had a few gray areas in my life where, you know, I went to college, I was working 4 jobs and taking 18 credits of schoolwork, 6 classes at a time, and I didn't have any time for Lego and collecting and that sort of thing. But getting on TikTok, making one video about Lego and developing a community with it, I've had my passion reignited. I've reignited other people's passions, I hope. But at the end of the day, this is what is keeping me going now, I suppose, is this social media presence. And I love it. I love connecting with other people in this community-oriented way. But I think for my collection itself, I mean, I recently just purchased like my dream Holy Grail Lego set, which was the Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon.
Wow.
And I am so excited to build it. But at this point, I have no idea where I'm going to even display it. Because, you know, my life is just constantly in motion. I have no idea where I'm ending up. I'm still a young guy. I'm still working jobs that I'm not sure if I'm going to keep. I'm not sure where I'm going to be in a year. So I don't want to take that down the highway if it's built here, have to bubble wrap it. And then, you know, if I slam on the brakes, I hope that it doesn't go through the windshield. I don't want to run into that issue. Everybody on my page is like, Matt, build the UCS Millennium Falcon. I'm like, I would, but I just don't know where to put it, and I don't know where I'm going to be in a year. So I'm going to take my time and enjoy it. And I think that's what collectors need to do, is really take their time to enjoy the process of collecting and not be so rushed to buy things. It can sometimes feel like, oh, this is the last one on the shelf. Oh, I want to make sure I get this before it's out of stock or whatever. And that's the fun part for the stuff that you really want. But after a while, you got to cut out the fat a little bit to a point.
Absolutely.
And I think
most meaningful in a sense.
Exactly. Collect what fits you, right? There are certain Lego Star Wars sets that I don't want. I don't need. And that's okay. My goal isn't to necessarily have like every single Lego Star Wars set. That would be awesome. That would be like, that's the museum that you're talking about.
Right. And see, my brain, as someone looking from the outside, I'm like, well, I bet he's got them all, you know. But you're like, no, that's not true. I do not have them all. But you know, it seems like when I watch your page, man, it definitely, because mind you, it's weird. Like, I love the Lego Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen any of the shorts that they've done. The stuff that they've done with Disney. I love those. They're enjoyable. And I came across your page on TikTok because I was just looking like, okay, what's some Lego Star Wars stuff on here? And I was like, oh, who is this guy? And like, I just was instantly hooked. But I think you definitely do a great job at like keeping the excitement of that piece of Star Wars and Lego, all that together, like alive in the fandom. It's really exciting, you know, to watch your stuff. And that's why I had to ask. I was like, man, I wonder if he has like, what's his thoughts going forward? Like, is he going to do, obviously, I'm sure down the road, there will be other ideas that you'll come up with. Like, yeah, let's do this. This is going to be big. But I don't know, man. I just see you definitely doing a museum one day. You're going to get a house and it's going to be Lego everything. I'm just saying.
Well, dude, I appreciate your kind words. Very, very nice. And like I said, it's a pleasure to be on here and talking to you as well. I don't have every single Lego Star Wars set.
Right. Okay. So we can get that out the way.
Just get that out of the way. Exactly. And the thing is, though, the sets that I do have, they keep me excited to keep collecting. Because I know that there's always going to be more out there. There's always going to be new sets that are coming down the pipeline. And there are some really exciting ones that I'm excited for coming up this summer, actually, from what the leaks and rumors have been. And they've been confirmed in a lot of cases. But B, I just love looking at sometimes I'll come in my room and just look at my collection and reminisce as to the times that I bought certain sets, like my Death Star. I remember the exact moment when I got it, when it came in the mail, and when I opened that package up and started building it. And I think that becomes a part of what the collection is the memories behind the plastic, not just the materialistic, tangible objects that we possess.
Just for the sake of having it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people get removed from that idea. Like, I have a really close friend who I met on TikTok, actually. His name is Zane, aka Block Studios. And he got his Millennium Falcon at a time in his life where, you know, he valued his relationship with his father.
Yeah.
And his father passed away.
Wow.
While he was, you know, completing this Lego build.
Yeah.
And they had shared that experience together. Now, I don't have something as powerful as that. That's why I bring it up. But it's so important to remember the memories that go behind the collection rather than just what it is for a new viewer. And that's the fun part to share with people, right? It's to explain the time that I did get the Death Star, the time that I did buy 2 UCS Millennium Falcons in the store. And to share that online as well, and that whole process becomes documentation in a sense. But
it's almost like you develop almost a minimalistic approach to enjoying, you know, the fandom in a sense. And I think you're right, man. You hit it on the nail where it's like, you know, it's about these moments and experiences that are attached to the stuff itself. You know, like even another example I could think of is like for me growing up watching the prequels, it's like, yes, it's not just about how much content that we're able to get and watch, but like I can vividly remember looking back, like every midnight release, I remember going with my dad and getting Taco Bell and, you know, because they used to do this stuff back in the day for Star Wars. But again, it's like you said, the memories that are attached to, you know, the products, to the movies. That's what it's about. And ultimately, I think that mentality is going to help the fandom so much more, is like enjoy the moments. You know what I mean? It's not about how much to consume, but just enjoying the moments, man. I love that. I love that.
Exactly. And I think going forward in the future, like there are some projects that I would like to take on. I would like to do some mock building, which stands for my own creation. I don't know how much Lego terminology you or your viewers understand, but that's basically just like free building whatever you want with Lego. And there are some people who do some massive mocks, and I'm working on one at home actually, but I'm currently living in my apartment. I'm not living at home with my family anymore. And that's where this massive project is. But if you scroll down on my feed quite a few ways, you don't have to right now because it might take you some time to get there. But there's a massive Octu island build from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi that I was working on with my friend at some point. And it's taken some time to complete because I've not been home. I've been away at college and whatnot. So it's honestly been sitting in my room for 3 years, and my mom is like, when are you going to get rid of this thing? It's a nuisance to clean. What are you doing? And like, don't worry, Mom. I've built it in a way that it can be destroyed but still kept. So like there are some big projects that I have in my head, stuff that I would like to build, stuff that I would like to continue on social media. But for collecting right now, it's just, so far it is buying what I want to buy. Until I get to a point when maybe in the future, who knows, there's a Lego Ambassador Network, which actually allows you to get sets from Lego and you review them online. So hopefully at some point we could maybe consider doing that.
That'd be awesome.
That would be a dream come true, but I'm just right now living it day by day and enjoying, like I said, enjoying the process of collecting one set at a time.
Now, here's 2 questions for you, since we're talking about collections. What are 2 sets of Lego that you would be like, man, this is for me personally, these are ones for Star Wars that I really want that they haven't created yet? So that's the first question. Second question is, when Matt's a little bit older and you have kids and you have this beautiful Lego collection, are the kids allowed to touch these, or are these super glued in display? Go.
Okay, so first of all, my dream sets that Lego has never made from Star Wars are 2, both from Attack of the Clones. And you know, I think Attack of the Clones and the prequels as a whole have gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to Lego and the sets that they have come out with. I think the Clone Wars and Rebels as well, these series that have a wide breadth of story and things that could be made really weren't given the time that they deserved, I think, personally, as a fan. And I have a certain nostalgia with the prequels, but that's just me. I think the sequels as well as a whole. But when I look at the prequels and the necessary sets that Lego has come out with to tell the Star Wars story, I think the Droid Factory and Geonosis Arena both make great Lego Star Wars sets and make them big. You could even make them one set, but those are two. I would even like to see two different sets that you can connect. I love when Lego does that. They did that with the Ghost and the Phantom from Rebels, where they made a separate Ghost and a separate Phantom that you can actually interact with.
Did they make a Ghost for Lego?
Yeah. So give me 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second, and I'll pick it off the shelf just to show you what I'm
take your time, my friend. It's like I think I remember seeing something about that, but I was like, I guess it's just been so long that I couldn't remember.
So I have my figures on top too.
Yeah.
But we have the Ghost, which is a beautiful set. I actually remember picking this up at Walmart. Yeah. And I thought to myself, it may be a good amount of money. Yeah. But I don't think this is a set that Lego is necessarily going to remake.
Yeah, yeah.
And it might be worth something in the future. And it is.
And
it is worth something now.
Right. Because you can't find it. You can't find it anywhere.
No. Well, this came out, I think, the first year that Rebels premiered. And then in the back, my figures are falling off. That's okay. We have the Phantom, which is a separate set that you can actually remove. And this came separately. So the Ghost had this docking bay in the back that was empty. And the whole point was to get both of the sets that you can put in here. They also made a second Phantom when they actually, acquired that shuttle in the episode with Captain Rex in Star Wars Rebels. Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen it already.
If you haven't seen it, I hope you have. Right. But you can actually put that in this set as well. So it's compatible with the Ghost. And I love when Lego does that. They also did it with the Jabba's Palace and Rancor Pit. So I would love to see a Geonosis Arena and Droid Factory with all of the beasts, the Reek, the Nexu, the Acklay. Yeah. It would be great. It'd be great.
Man. Yeah. Then, thank you for sharing that. That's so awesome.
Of course.
Now the second question to that is when you have kids, are you going to allow kids to, are they allowed to play with the Lego stuff, or is it just for beautiful display?
Of course. Okay. I think this is a very important question. Yeah. Because, a lot of people acquire collection like me, and they don't think about the future in that sort of sense. You're kind of tuned into your collection and what's going on right now. You're not thinking about wife and kids at the moment. Right. But for me personally, I would love to have a family someday. Yeah. That's my goal in life. And I think, genuine happiness and fulfillment for me personally would come from that. Yeah. And I think you could play. Attest to such a thing, being an older gent like yourself who understands the aspect of family and those sort of values. You're the wise. I'm still a young guy. You're the wiser, more polished individual here.
For sure.
For me personally, I think allowing my kids to enjoy my collection as much as I have is super important. Now, with that being said, I think it's important to show your kids the respect that you have for it, and that way they also have the same respect. And I hope that we can share that. My kids also might grow up and say, Dad, I don't want to play with your Lego.
And it's like, yes. Yes.
And that's a double-edged sword, right? Right. Because you want to be able to share that with your kids, but at the same time, it's like, okay, now I don't have to worry about things being destroyed and misplaced at this point. I would let my kids, if they have that respect for it, enjoy playing with them, and it gives me the opportunity to play with them and have that shared experience. I never glued my sets. For Lego fans, that's for a lot of Lego fans. If you've watched the Lego movie, I don't know if you have or not, with the Craggle, they make that joke of gluing an adult gluing their collection together.
Will Ferrell.
Yes, exactly. Wonderful movie. And putting it on museum display almost. I think for me personally, that loses the excitement for what Lego is. because it is just something that you can like I just did, take off the shelf, remove a set, show you how it opens up, show you how you can play with it. And that brings the set alive, and it allows its life to continue rather than just being behind glass glued together.
For sure. I like that, man. And you've definitely inspired, like I said, we're going to be moving into our house, oh man, in probably a matter of months.
That's awesome,
but the thing for me, like I have a few, it's more on the cheaper end, the little small ones, the little sets you can get for like $10, $16, those.
Sure.
So nothing massive. Do I eye them? Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's kind of like, again, I don't want to commit, because like, again, I collect, I've started to collect the Funko stuff. So I'm really into those. And I never used to be into, the Star Wars Funko stuff. But, just since what I would say maybe last year is when I started getting into that, and books, so adding that stuff to my collection. And that's kind of where my heart is. But for Lego, yes, I love them. But it's like, I feel like once, because this is kind of a temporary setup where I'm at now until we get into the house. So once we do that, then it's like, okay, if I do want to start it, I want to have a good setup, because it's like, I don't want to just get one and it just feels so incomplete. You know what I mean? But but at the same time, it's not just about, like you were saying, it's not about how much you get. It's about getting what's meaningful, but also where it kind of fits into a collection. You know what I mean? I don't want to have like 20 Funkos and then just one random Lego thing. You know what I mean? You could, if that's what you want in your collection. But the way mine works, I'm like, I like to have a section. You know what I mean?
Totally. I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah. And I think for me personally, like what I picture, in my dream home, the grand scheme of things is like a nice man cave or a garage where I have my area to build, to collect, and do what I want to in the Lego sphere of things.
Yeah.
And I think for you, that sounds super exciting though, like getting your own home and bringing your collection there and kind of completing that point of your life. That's a long time coming. That's very exciting.
It is. Awesome. It is. Now for you, Matt, more about you, man. What's for Star Wars going back, early dates? What were some things that, what was the moment that was like, hey, this is what got me into Star Wars. This is what made me a Star Wars fan. What are some moments that you could look back on and share with us?
So as I said before, I hated Star Wars because those were my bullies. My bullies loved Star Wars. My bullies loved Lego. I didn't want to like those things.
Right.
They also like Pokemon, and I ended up getting a little bit into Pokemon after a while. When Pokemon Go came out, I've been a late bloomer with all of this my whole life.
Yeah.
But my mom was the one who actually said, "Look, you cannot hate something that you've never tried, that you've never given a chance."
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? You're right. And I, being a young kid who had I was playing mature for my age, but I understood what she was saying. And I think it's a lesson that a lot of people can learn even when they're older, especially with Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Giving something a chance is so important because it might just turn into what you love the rest of your life.
Yep.
And I watched the first VHS, A New Hope. We borrowed it from a friend. My dad's friend owned all of the tapes. And I remember putting it on the TV and not understanding why we didn't get subtitles for R2-D2, why I didn't understand what he was saying. And my mom's like, well, C-3PO's interpreting it. And I'm like, but I want to know what he's saying.
Right.
And my curiosity, I think, for what that original film was, watching A New Hope, is what ignited my passion for it.
Yeah.
And being brought into a new world that I didn't understand, and having like I said, the curiosity to wonder what's really going on here. And then I wanted to watch the next one right after. And then I wanted to watch the next one right after. And that was the time that Revenge of the Sith came out. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to see that in the theater. Big regrets. But I remember watching that, and the prequel trilogy I loved because for me as a kid, those were the updated ones, right? With the new graphics and the real action, it felt like, for me, as, you know, an 8 to 10-year-old. And I loved Revenge of the Sith so much.
Yeah, I love Jar Jar Binks back then too, man. I did. I don't know why
Jar Jar. I love Jar Jar.
Yeah, I do too.
Jar Jar is my mom's favorite character, or one of her favorite characters. And I think he's so endearing to a point, because he is the buffoon, but he has this arc that is so tragic. He comes to power and then helps the rise of a dictator come in charge, and loses all of his friends in the process because of it.
Yeah.
So depressing. And especially if you read the Aftermath books to know what happens to the character after the main saga ends. But I loved the prequels as a kid, and I would watch Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Phantom Menace, this was terrible. I would just skip to the end.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have done that. Yeah.
Well, and it wasn't because I didn't enjoy the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
It was because I just wanted to watch the glorious action that is Duel of the Fates.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I actually know a guy that edited a version of the movie for himself and basically like condensed it to, it was like 20 or maybe 30 minutes. And it was like all the good stuff apparently that he liked. So like
that's so subjective.
All the best fights, everything else was cut out, and he just made it for himself. I was like, wow, you went through all that trouble to do that. But hey.
Well, I remember going to see the 3D Star Wars Phantom Menace when it came to theaters, and the pod race blew me away.
Yeah.
Having that in 3D. That was when I fell in love with the pod race in a sense.
Yep.
But
man. Well, thank you for sharing that, man. It's just cool to be able to, you know, like I said, I've been following you on TikTok for a while, so it's so cool to kind of hear like, hey, this is more of Matt's personal story.
Yeah.
The man behind the Lego.
Well, I mean, if you really want a story, I can tell you how I got onto TikTok.
Yeah,
I think that might
please.
be fun. So, how do I put this? My college life was interesting, to say the least. I was overworked. And because I took it upon myself to do that. It's just kind of the way I am as a person.
Yeah.
And so I went on TikTok after I had lost, unfortunately, due to, you know, the pandemic and everything, my job at Disney.
Oh,
so
man.
I somehow found myself doing the Disney college program my junior year of college.
Yep.
And that was an amazing experience. It was a photo pass photographer at Animal Kingdom. It was glorious.
Man.
Just interacting with families, that sort of thing. And being able to work at a truly magical place was insane, where memories are made, going back to the memories thing. They're so important, and to help people make those memories and to document them with a camera was immaculate.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, going back to what I'm saying with TikTok, I lost that position with Disney because I was furloughed. I actually got a position with the company during my college program. But as soon as I got the call, I knew that I needed to make a change in my life and to figure out what I was doing. So I heard that TikTok was this thing that you could go from 0 to 1 million in like a day on. And I thought to myself, look, I majored in graphic design and marketing in college. I know digital marketing. Why don't I try this? And I originally wanted to promote my art as a graphic designer. I posted one video with a Lego set in it, or I guess it was actually my own creation. I made this like bird creation out of Lego, and I showed it to my audience, and they loved it. I got 40,000 views on that video. Wow. I was like blown away. My mind was blown that people actually wanted to watch that sort of content. And so then I made another, and then another, and then another, and it turned out people loved it. So I was grateful for that. But my content didn't necessarily come from me for Lego. It was the audience. So I think that's the interesting part. It's like, I enjoy doing it, don't get me wrong, but it's the audience that keeps me going.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you there, man. Absolutely. Every time, I'll share a secret about the cosplay piece. Getting into that Mando suit is a process. So, you know, when you say you do it for the community, when you do it for, you know, the fans that are watching, I 100% agree. That thing is hot. Uh, but again, it's the interaction and like being able to that community of like, man, people really do appreciate this, and again, I when you say that keeps you going and like that's the excitement behind it, I 100% understand holistically.
And you look good in that cosplay as well. You look great.
I try.
You made that yourself, right?
I did. It
looks awesome, man. I have some questions for you after the show.
Yeah,
about how you went and did that, because I tried to make my own stormtrooper armor one time. It didn't work out very well. I was fiberglassing, I was puttying, I was like so confused as to what I was doing. I was trying to look up stuff on YouTube to help me, but I now found someone who I know and can trust, I suppose, in that realm of things.
Any questions you got, man, please send them my way. So switching gears, but not really. We're still talking about Lego Star Wars, but a different Lego Star Wars. Oh, and I think Star Wars Guide messaged me.
Hello.
My bad, brother.
How's it going? It's all good.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
Star Wars Guide was like messaging me, and I totally missed some of his messages. I was like, oh, I'm sure. I was like, oh, he'll hop in when he gets here. He's like, yo, where you at? I'm like,
let me in.
I'm knocking on the door, trying to get in.
Yeah. So anyway, we've been you haven't missed much. Me and Aaron. This is my buddy Aaron, by the way, Matt. Star Wars Guide.
Nice to meet you, man.
Matt and I, we just been, I've been interviewing him. I put him on the hot seat, asking him all the good questions. So we just been able to get to know him a little bit more, talked about his journey. And now we're in this part of the video where we are looking at Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. So, and this is all Lego stuff. I told Matt it's all about him today. We're going in on Lego stuff.
Shucks.
So, Guide, since you are popped in, we are talking about the Lego Star Wars game, Skywalker Saga, that has been delayed multiple times. I know fans like myself, we all have different theories, which I'll talk about mine, but we'll work up. So, Guide, we'll start with you. What do you think about the game, and what are some theories that you have going into it?
Well, I grew up playing Lego Star Wars on the PlayStation 2 and I think PlayStation 3, somewhere one of those two consoles when I was very young.
Yeah.
And of course, I had a pretty good mesh of like Lego sets, but sadly my parents threw them away. But anyways, I loved them. It was
That's
terrible.
Like a horror story.
Yeah.
It's terrible because they basically were like, you're too old for this, and they grabbed the big box I had and in front of me threw it in the dumpster and said, don't take any out. And I was like, okay, all right.
We're talking vintage Lego Star Wars too. Like, oh my goodness.
Yes, if I just would have kept them, I mean, I would have had them on the wall or something, but
or you could retire. I mean,
right. Probably. Oh man, that would have been nice. But nonetheless, I've always loved Lego Star Wars, and for this game to come out and include what it seems to be everything, that would be awesome for people who love either one saga. How can I say it? I guess if they just love the prequels, they get a little bit of that. If they just love the sequels, a little bit of that in the original trilogy and that. But I think that they're putting it on pause because maybe it hasn't turned out the way that they wanted it to, and they wanted it to be, as perfect as possible kind of thing, So I'm perfectly fine with waiting as long as it doesn't, now this is my own personal opinion, as long as it doesn't disappoint me like the new version of Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, then, I want a good game.
There's nothing like the original Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. Nothing like it on the PlayStation 2. That's what I played that on. So.
I remember those.
Yes, classic.
So good.
Matt, what about you, man? What are your thoughts? We'll just go up. What are your thoughts on this game?
I used to play Lego Star Wars all the time as a kid. So let me take you back to 2005, I believe, around that time, 2005 or 2006. I had the Game Boy Advanced SP, and I played the original Lego Star Wars. I realized that the game was a real thing after looking on the back of the instruction manual and seeing the advertisement for it, and I looked at that and I said, Mom, I'm getting a Game Boy. I want this game. And then I realized that the Game Boy game did not look as good as what it should have been, because you're on a Game Boy, you're not on a console. I didn't understand video games back then. So then I was like, okay, I'm getting a PlayStation 2 just for Lego Star Wars, literally. And then I fell in love with Star Wars Battlefront, and I was, encapsulated in what Star Wars gaming was at that time in my life as a kid. I love the original games. A couple years later, or a year later, the original trilogy game came out for Lego Star Wars. I loved that just as much as the first, which was just the prequels at the time, because I believe it was aligned with the release of Revenge of the Sith, and that's why they put out the original Lego Star Wars game. So I always grew up with them. I always played them as a kid, and I'm so excited, like you said, to have this game fully flesh out the entire Star Wars saga. And not only that, but have DLC that comes with it to get other stories from, whether it be hopefully Rogue One, Solo, The Mandalorian, or the animated series like Clone Wars. I know we also got a Clone Wars game before at some point too, Lego Star Wars 3. Or Rebels. I would love to see all of those stories brought into this to have one overall Lego Star Wars completed game. And I think that's why they're taking so long. It's because this is kind of the swan song of Lego Star Wars, the video game. And they want it to be perfect. I would want it to be perfect, since this was what really kicked off the start of Lego games and the whole franchise of what they could do with them.
No, I 100% agree with that, man. You both hit it on the nail, where I think they definitely want it to be the best and biggest thing, period. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer. I'm going to see if I can play it. Let's play the trailer. It's one of the most recent ones they had. And then I'll share my thoughts after this. You guys can hear it, yeah?
I can't, no.
I cannot.
Let's see.
Looks really good, though.
And I don't think this is the same trailer that I've seen before. The most recent trailer I've seen, and I'll pause this one here in a minute. Yeah, this looks great, though. It really does look great. But the most recent one I've seen, they had the whole Leia. They had the Star Wars Lego holiday special that was a part of the trailer. And I don't know if you guys have seen that. I absolutely, it's one of my favorite Star Wars movies now. And I just thought it was great, man. Just the concept of that film, like the whole time travel between. Some people might be like, they don't care. But I really enjoyed, like, to see Rey kind of going back in the past and fighting with younger Luke, and you know what I mean, fighting Vader. Like, I just thought that concept of this time travel aspect, which I kind of got in-game vibes, with that piece. But I thought that was cool. But I mentioned that because it was in the most recent trailer. I don't think it's they may not have it on here. Yeah, I don't see the most recent trailer on here, but that was in that trailer. So that got me thinking, well, why would they put that just in there? Is that going to be a thing, again, like you said, DLC that we'll be able to play? Is that holiday special level? Because if so, that's phenomenal. That's a whole game in itself. Then my other theory is this. Like you guys said, they want it to be the best, most perfect thing, period. Well, what's one thing that we haven't seen kind of fully fleshed out that is a part of the Skywalker saga? And that's Luke's Jedi school. So what if, this is just a what if, period. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But as I think about the game, I'm like, well, what if they're like, you know what? Let's make this game the biggest, baddest thing ever. Why don't we add in a DLC level where you can play and create your own Lego character? Like you're a young Padawan in Luke's Jedi school, and you kind of get to see what happened in the rise and fall of that. Tell me that wouldn't be amazing. Like you get to create your own little Lego Padawan that eventually dies. But I just think it would be cool. Now, the other parts of that, something as big as that, I don't necessarily see them putting it in a game because I'm like, that's Disney Plus, all over it. You know what I mean? I feel like we want to watch something like that before we can experience it in a game. You know what I mean? I just feel like that's too much to just throw in, but I think it would be a cool idea. So what do you guys think of that?
I think it would be awesome to get new content from the game, which they've actually teased a little bit.
Yeah.
That kind of adds to the story. Because they even said in an interview, I forget who exactly it was or when it was, what the documentation is for it, but they had said that Finn would get a better story than he got in The Rise of Skywalker, or a more fleshed out story with added elements to it. And I don't know what that means, but I remember reading that somewhere. Yeah. But I think it would be awesome to see other additional plot details from the Skywalker saga in the game that we've not seen before. Yeah. Now, also, I think your theory of maybe something needs to be released from Disney Star Wars before it can be shown in Lego Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that what you were kind of saying? I kind of got that vibe from what you were thinking.
Because I feel like it's just too big. Again, I feel like if we're going to see, I don't know who said this. I seen it somewhere. I think it was probably on TikTok. But like, imagine if we got a show on Disney Plus that focused on Jedi's, Luke's Jedi school. And it starts off with Rey training her new students and training Finn. But, she's reading through like old Jedi text and scripts, that Luke had. And as she's going through that narrative, it's flashbacks to, Luke in his prime and teaching. I think like seeing a show that was kind of focused on that would be, oh my God, that's gold. So when I think of that concept for this game, I was like, I feel like, it would have to be fans we would probably want to see that, played out more so on a show theatrically first, before putting it in a game. Would I love to play it? Yeah. But again, I think it's going to have to be, we'd have to see it first on screen for sure. So, yeah.
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you think, God?
I'm thinking there's already so much controversy with the sequels, and I genuinely like, bits and pieces of it just the same as I like bits and pieces of the prequels and the original trilogy. There's memorable moments and all, but I just thought of this now, the reason why Finn doesn't have such a major role, staying away from politics.
Yeah.
I think that this was mainly Rey's story, whether people like it or not. It's mainly circulating around her. And if you watch the holiday special, it's now her training Finn, which I think as long as he's patient with Disney, I don't know if he'll have a movie, but if he has a show or has more of a major role, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Yeah. So,
and you hit something there too, because even in Rise of Skywalker, that was kind of like teased, like, this guy obviously is force sensitive, so there's something more coming. And I would love to see that. Poor John Boyega though, like thinking, you guys are gonna give my Lego adaptation better story than me.
I don't know how to feel about that, especially like you were saying, like if they were going to put something in this game that was so relevant to Star Wars fans in the story, I would want it to be its own story. Right. Whether that's in another video game like Jedi Fallen Order, which is a great game. I don't know if you guys had a chance to play it or not, but it was awesome. And it was such a great story that is perfect as a game. Yeah. I think putting the right medium and adapting the story to the right medium is so important.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Star Wars Guide mentioned something too about the holiday special. This is, my way of thinking was kind of swayed and has changed since then. But, as I watched it, this is not me bashing the sequel trilogy, but it's saying a what if kind of question. Mm-hmm. Is you know, if you've watched that movie, to me, when I first watched it, I was like, well, if you took out the Christmas aspects and said, hey, this was a general different idea that they could have taken for that third movie, that could have been theatrically, you know what I mean? Like, imagine seeing that, you know, versus Rise of Skywalker. Mind you, I'm happy with what we got, but I'm thinking more so concept wise, like the traveling in the past, and some people may not be about that for Star Wars, but I still thought that, like, wow, as a concept, that would have been crazy for like a theatrical, you know, release for, you know, a sequel. I thought it would have been really cool. But let me know what you guys think.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, thank you. It sounds a bit endgame to me, like you were kind of mentioning before.
Yeah.
I think, you know, they have an opportunity to do something like that in the future with the sort of quote unquote time travel with the world between worlds, which we get in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll come into play in the Ahsoka show as well.
Yeah.
But you never know with Star Wars. I think that it would have certainly been interesting. Now, what I said about, you know, you need the right medium for the right adaptation. I think the Lego game is a perfect way to bring that kind of story to life, because it is a wacky and goofy idea, and what better place to do it
than in Lego
in Lego on Disney Plus, right? As a Christmas holiday special. And I enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't, you know, love it to pieces. Lego pun. But I enjoyed it. I got a kick out of it, and I think that if I was a younger kid, I would enjoy it even more. That's just me personally.
No, I agree, man. You said it right. Like, I definitely enjoyed it for what it was. And yeah, you know, I'm excited to see what they do with the game. But I think overall, there's so many theories out there. But again, I think you guys hit it on the nail where it's like they want this game to be the best it can be. So I want to play it. I just want to play it already. That's it, man.
For sure.
Star Wars guy, did you have anything else before we end today's video? Anything else you want to throw out there into the universe?
The future of Star Wars is very bright. It's very exciting, and we're going to be surprised with a lot of things that come out from Disney. And to everyone who says that Disney ruined things, well, keep laughing. You know, they're coming out with some cool stuff. You're going to be missing out.
Oh, seriously, man. It's funny you mentioned that, because oh man, I've had so many comments recently. The comment section of TikTok is a whole other like universe itself. You know what I mean? That's a whole other video we could get into. And I just had a conversation about that, particularly about Disney. And, you know, I posted a question like, well, what is it that you don't like that Disney has done, you know, with Star Wars? And I'm thinking to myself, well, we wouldn't have had as much as we do, you know, thus far. And I think it's also the understanding, like even being able to meet with you today, Matt, like that's why we love doing the show, is because, you know, when it comes to people who build stuff, build lightsabers, you know, do the Lego stuff, the behind the scenes, and knowing how much work goes into it. Even for specifically talking about the movies, like doing a trilogy takes 10 plus years. So you think about like, yeah, of course, like it takes a lot of work. And when you realize the process, you kind of appreciate the artistry a little bit more, you know, but not every fan thinks about the process. They just look at the product. But, you know, me, I think, you know, me and Aaron are both one and the same, where we're kind of like a dyad in that sense, where it's like, yeah, we understand, we're on the fandom side of things, but we also appreciate and understand, like, yeah, there's a lot of work and intentionality that goes behind all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And it just makes you appreciate it that much more. So
100%. I always loved looking at the behind the scenes stuff as a kid as well. And that kind of took me into wanting to do more creative work in my life, because I saw what storytelling could be and how amazing it is and how impactful it is to people at a certain level, because of what it allowed me to believe and how I see the world. You know, Star Wars is a reflection of reality in a beautiful way at times, and the stories are necessary for whatever you're going through or whatever you might be going through in the future, or maybe it can teach you something about your past that you didn't know before. And I love experiencing new stories, and I think you're right, God. Star Wars is just getting Star Wars is just getting started with the stories that they're creating. I love Bad Batch, and I can't wait for more Mandalorian stuff, Book of Boba Fett, all the different shows that they announced. I am not a sequel hater by any means. I don't have the bone in my body to hate anyone or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure there are some things that I disagree with. Just the way that they treated developing the story. I wish that a lot more planning would have went into it from, what has been released in that sort of sense. Yeah. Because it takes a long time, like you said, to plan a trilogy. But I think for what they were working with different talent, different directors, it's good for what it is. And there are a lot of things that I appreciate, and there are a lot of things that I don't appreciate. But it's knowing how to look at something with a positive eye and a perspective that is respectful and doesn't demean other people for their interests and their passions. I think that's very important in today's day and age.
As a fandom, we're working on it.
Yes.
As a whole.
Yes.
Well,
the Lego community is pretty great. You guys should come on over.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you might need a little breath of fresh air sometimes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm not.
Nice
luckily, I'm not as deep into the Star Wars community as much as the Lego. It overlaps a little bit. You know how it is with this, which is just such a pleasure to talk with you guys. But the Lego community, I will say, is just so wholesome, and that's why I love it so much. Is because there's not a lot of infighting. I'm sure you get a comment here and there that says, "Oh, you're a child, you're a kid, you're a clown who plays with Lego still." But I mean, you get that as collectors no matter what.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. Well, I definitely know that is noted, my friend. And as I told you, once I move into the house, I'm going to message you again and say, look, man, I did it. I got a little section for my Lego stuff. So just be expecting a message in a few months.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing it.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us today, man. Again, guys, if you're on TikTok, all of us are on there. So it's so great to have, other friends come onto our show for Star Wars Weekly Review. Matt is a fantastic guy. We have your page up here. Yeah, Mr. Matt Mellish. So if you guys are on TikTok, please do go and follow him. You will have a good time just as well as I do. And he's also on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe to his channel as well. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share. We got content coming out weekly. And Star Wars Guide, leave them with one word of advice or quote or something of the Force. Something.
I will say it. One word that scares everybody: death. We're all gonna die. It's very dark. It's very dark. But
we're talking Lego, and you bring in death.
Here's the quote of the day, though: we're all gonna die. And you gotta enjoy this moment of life, this fragment of time that we all have. We're even lucky to be here. So that's my quote of the day. As dark as it may seem, it's very bright in the sense of sometimes you gotta take a couple steps back and just be like, look at all this cool stuff I got around. I got Legos, I got Funkos. You got all kinds of cool stuff, man. So,
and it's funny you say that. It brings it full circle. Even what Matt was saying earlier, kind of like, it's not about how much, Lego stuff or whatever you can buy and consume, but it's about the memories and the moments that are attached, with all of that, and enjoying it because it's meaningful to you. So
and the casket doesn't come with a U-Haul, guys. So just
man, I need to hang out with the stud buds. Let's go.
Come on over. You're more than welcome to. Seriously.
Well, Matt, we'll see you soon, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you guys. It means the world. Seriously. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Matt.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.